Alright, so welcome to my second video on my QCC3008 series. In the first episode we looked at PSTool and what it can do. So basically rename and change the address is basically what you'll be doing here, and also managing bulk settings. So if you've set your Bluetooth module up to have a custom name, custom LED events, and a custom equalizer, you will at the end create a dump with PSTool and have your fully configured dump, which you will use PSTool to merge onto your new boards, right? But anyway, we're not here for this. We're here for the ConfigTool. Again, links for all this shit will be in the description. So in ConfigTool, you will have to have your Bluetooth module connected via the CSR USB SPI programmer. As you can see in the lower part of the screen is where I will hopefully paste the video. And so what you'll want to do is select it at the top here, and this works a bit differently from the config tool for the CSR A64215, but it's still pretty much the same gist, just that now it has a few modes. So now we're connected to the Bluetooth module, but we are not in the configurable mode. So this has a few layers of software running on it. So once you've clicked Go Programmable, you have to click Read Device, and this populates the list on the left with the values that are found on the chip that's connected at this address. And so let's quickly go over all of the options here. For those of you still thinking of getting into this, so we'll just quickly go over and I'll briefly talk about the shit I know something about. So far so good. This is basically the default value. If you want this to start at a lower volume, you can do this. Voice volume, make sure these are set to no tone, otherwise it will have beeps when you change the volume, and that's really antisocial. It's not progressive at all. Again, nothing to see here. Input, whatever. Microphone. You can use this to feed a line in to the to the CSR chip, or to the Qualcomm chip. Sorry, I keep calling it CSR. You can actually use the DSP inside of the chip to equalize a line in. So you can have a speaker that has a line in and that is also equalized and tuned to your speaker. So that's very powerful. Unfortunately, I've never used this until now, so I only know that it works. Eric again has done this, and so he's your go-to guy on this. SPDIF, again, I've not touched this until now, but some of you should know what this is about. Some people have used the USB. You can actually connect this to a computer and have the chip advertise itself as a sound card. That's pretty nice. Again, nothing to see here. Output. Yep. So this actually does have a sub-output option. I've heard talk about this, but again, I've never used it. I2S. Some settings here if you want to use digital audio with this. A lot of crap over here. Some features. And we get on to the bit more important stuff. And so I use ConfigTool mainly to disable the microphone on this. On these boards, so this is done somewhere here. What we have on this page is basically you can have two phones connected to a Bluetooth module to your speaker, and barge in means that the second user can actually hit play and it'll override the stream of the first one, and then the other one can hit play, so everyone can join and basically step over each other's toes. So this is pretty interesting to have in a car. I do leave it to bar gen, but if you really don't want this, party mode none, use your jam. You can definitely set that up. Connection management, so we can actually zoom this in even further. If you have problems with the module not connecting to your phone, do not be super tempted to click this. It's not really so make sure that your screen looks similar to this, and then it will most likely pair at boot. I have had problems where these devices would not connect to the last phone, and it was to do with stuff over here. So don't play too much with this, or if you do, then do come back to this. Again, pairing, I think I haven't ever changed anything here. Connection, discovery, reconnect. And RSSI parameters, you can actually change these values to make sure, if for example your speaker is kind of screening the module, it will not accept connections from devices that are super far away. So you can change these values over here and tune that so that the device will connect to further away devices, right? So this is kind of thing to not have people from other cars connecting to your car. It's basically what this is used for. And man in the middle shit as well. I think there's even talk about this here, but anyway. Okay. RSSI, and then we get to the profiles. Nothing to see here, nothing to see here. So this is basically the profile that's used to stream music. You'll want to have AAC enabled because that's what Apple devices stream, and aptX for higher quality streams from Android and whatever. But Apple doesn't pay for aptX, so they just use their own. Still sounds, I don't know, good enough, I'll say. And then HFP, you will want to disable all the profiles if you want the microphone to be disabled. So HFP, hands-free profile, audio parameters, disable everything. Auto answer, disable everything. These as well. You'll probably want to leave this ticked because newer phones have their own noise reduction, echo cancellation protocols in place. So this comes disabled, like choose your variant. I don't know, check it out. And once you're done setting something up over here, you'll want to click write device, and this will actually write to your chip. Go normal and then close out of this, or just close out of it. It's pretty buggy when you want to disconnect, so just keep that in mind. You might have to reopen it. What else do we have here? So we're on HFP. We can go over the rest. So some call, hands-free stuff. Parameters, anyway. Bluetooth low energy. I have never used this before. I don't know what this does. It's probably interesting, probably cool, who knows. Battery indication, I don't know if this has it. I know for sure that the CSRA 64215 does not have it. I will actually link the full datasheet in the video, so again, technically that's highly confidential, but I mean, fuck this shit. Everyone has a right for their own datasheet, to have their own datasheet. So these chips actually have, I'm not sure if the 3008 has, but some other ones, the 8645 I think for sure has one. They have their own inductor inside of the chip, and so they can do switch mode, buck, or boost even, charging of a lithium ion cell. Again, not huge currents, obviously, but yeah. Like these chips are highly powerful. Again, most Chinese manufacturers just prefer adding an external battery charger to not have to deal with this bullshit. I don't know how easy it is to get to work here, but in the previous versions of this, it was very difficult. Like very difficult. I've seen well-implemented speakers that have not used, with small enough batteries, that have not used the internal charger. Anyway, so you can charge some shit, change some settings here. I honestly have never been here before. I'll have to be honest. So yeah, pretty cool. Gas gauge. Thermistor, so you can even have a thermistor to see if your battery is running amok. This is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's very cool that this chip can do that. So it's gonna charge up to 4.25, and then the cell's gonna drop back to 4.2. So that's basically how you get up to 4.2. You will need to change this shit or make sure it's identical on both devices that you want to have true wireless stereo between. So if you want two of these to connect, they will have to have the same product ID, vendor ID, and all that kind of crap. This basically allows JBL and Co. to disallow a, for example, I don't know what they're called, like a flip 1 from connecting to a charge 5. If they really don't want that, then they could do it here. They could just update these, and then the chips will no longer communicate, will no longer accept to pair with each other. Input output. Again, some nice stuff here. You can have some inputs into this chip that will trigger different events and stuff. Again, Eric is your guy for this. You can ask him about this crap. It's outside my pay grade. I think I only used this pin, right? Audio active. So this basically is pulled high when a stream is present, and I've used this to control some amps connected to my Bluetooth modules. You can invert the pins, so that's very nice. Some other masking pins, whatever. Masking maps, peer device. So this is TWS. And Share Me. I don't know what Share Me is. I don't think I ever used it. No idea what it is. If anyone knows, leave it down in the comments. And again, this kind of shit you need to configure in order to have TWS working, and it's not super hard. Again, Eric's video will guide you through this shit because I've never done it, and yeah, I don't want to talk shit more than I already do. Remote control, I have no... Oh yeah, this actually can decode remote control signals, so that's, I don't know, somewhat interesting, although who the fuck has a remote control for a Bluetooth speaker? You can actually use this as a way to input data into the chip. So if you have a microcontroller, you can actually simulate these. I've heard my Bluetooth friends talk about this. So you can actually have events triggered from a virtual button event, which is triggered by a Fox remote control signal, let's say. I think my mouse just died. Let's use the trackpad. System. Mouse is back online. Mouse is dead again. I'll need to change the batteries in this. Anyway, let me turn it off. System, I don't know what system does, like some general stuff, timers in PS Store. Let's just go over all the timers so you guys can have a clear and full snapshot of what this can do. Have no idea what this is, but it sounds really cool if it really defrags the persistent store database. And also I've used this quite extensively. Don't play too hard with this. So you can see some of these have VREG as their only input. And so this is how fast the chip enters pairing, powers on, and very, very long, right, is set there to allow the virtual machine and all the other operating system bits to boot, and then it tells the Bluetooth radio to send the pairing like signals and beacons and whatever. So you can play with these, but don't go too far. This is basically the easiest way to brick your module. So if you untick this, it will never power on, is basically what this does. And if it doesn't power on, there's a good chance you will not be able to connect to it. So that's kind of the gravity of the situation over here. Tones, you'll definitely want to turn down a lot of tones. So for example, 4 notes rising, you guys should already know it. I always change it to, it's too annoying. short middle GS7, right? And not only do I change it to short middle GS7, I also changed this to some other shit, like for example, short double high, let's say. And what I also like doing is turning down the volume, right? So fixed tone volume, I put this at 4, so like really silent tones. I really don't want my speaker beeping at me like crazy. It's good practice not to remove everything from these lists. So if you want to remove everything, just leave last number redial in there, something that you know will never get triggered. Sometimes that also used to brick the modules, so the chips. I don't know if that's still the case, but just keep that in mind. Audio prompts, if you want your Chinese lady to say a Bluetooth device is connected. Let me actually see, I think I have that recording. Yeah, so basically over here you can have your Chinese lady tell you what's happening.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully. The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
I love this one so much.
Device is ready to pair. Is ready to pair.
Yeah, so those are epic. And so you kind of populate them, trigger them here, but the way you get them onto the chip is very complicated. Again, Eric has gone into more depth with this. He wanted to put farting sounds in one of his speakers, so yeah, who knows? I think you need XIDE, we'll see. Anyway. Buttons, again, this would be a translation table, and button events you would configure here. Why is there nothing here? There really should be stuff here though. Yeah, that's pretty weird. So no, I think it's here where the buttons are, and this is just a random translation table. You can actually use, like, one of the most powerful output drivers of this chip is the LED driver. So that's in, I think it's an open drain setup. And you can actually use the LED to control whether your amplifier is on or off, or your booster is DC-DC booster or buck is on or off. Yeah, so an alarm rang. What you want to do in that case is delete the random events, because these will pollute your LEDs, so they will take over the LEDs. And so what I do when I want to use my LEDs for controlling stuff is just leave, let me actually open one of my dumps. For example, this. So you can see that I've set number of flashes to 0 when it's connected, and number of flashes to 0 when it is streaming, and LED B when it's either on a call or streaming music, and LED A when it's connected or connectable. Right, and basically one LED is going to be on when it's connectable or connected, as in not streaming music, so you want the amplifier to stay off. And the other LED is going to be on when there is either a stream on or a call in place. Tricolor LED, I don't know, I think you can drive some pins both ways, H-bridge style. And then this, I have no idea what this is. Gaia is, oh yeah, Gaia is this application that you can use to control stuff on the Bluetooth chip, and I think you could use this to control some other stuff in your speaker via the Bluetooth module. And then upgrade, I have no idea what this does. Yeah, no idea. So anyway, this just about wraps it. Let's click Go Normal to stop. the virtual machine from being in config mode and then unplug it, disconnect from the device. And you can see the device is no longer blinking as if it were in programming mode. And this wraps up the ConfigTool tutorial. Next up, we're going to go over the universal front end. And that'll wrap up the first set. And then we'll go into XIDE and see what we can do there. I actually have not touched this thus far, but if there's enough demand and motivation, I might, because I do want to write my own DSP code and dynamic base and that kind of stuff. All right, so if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. And as always, have a good one.